We see in a bunch of different places this notion of reverse grip with swords, from Hollywood to some dubious forms of martial arts, and we wanted to put this myth to bed once and for all. Reverse grip does not work with swords. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The only situation reverse grip with a bladed weapon makes sense is in super close quarters knife combat, and we are going to go through each and every form of this and debunk all the different myths, starting with general combat. Here we go. Hand. Hand. Wrist. Okay, he got me really hard, I got him a little bit, not much. Yeah, neck. Wrist, or ribs. Got him a little bit, but not enough. All right, switch. Yep, you're going reverse. Ready? Go. Wrist. Elbow. Thrust. Wrist over the block. Stomach. This is too easy. Hand. Hand. That's enough. Sabers. Go. Damn. Hand. And back a little bit. Stomach. Wrist. Wrist and then chest. Hand. The flat. I hit him with the flat because I didn't have any reach. All right, switch. Fence. Wrist. Wrist. Come back. Thrust. Hand. Thrust. Hand. Oh, that was a good one. Hand. Oh, I actually got him. I got one. But he got me two. And that's basically forward grip. And switch. And wrist. And why do you think this works? All right, machete or small short sword. Go. Ow, that hurt really bad. Ow, hold on a second. All right, go. Okay, ow. Oh, man. This is useless. No, I didn't get any power on that. Guys, just switch.
I hit it. You're hitting this. You got my hand like twice though.
Wrist, come back. Wrist. Wrist. Oh. Head. He has no reach. I don't even have to defend. This is not how you use this. Ready? Go. Hand. Wrist. Elbow. I got it. All right, ready?
Am I stopping?
Yeah, swap. Got mine, you got that? So as you can see from that, it has so many disadvantages. I had no reach when I was the one with the guard. I had no leverage, so even when I did hit, there was no force behind it. It wouldn't have done any damage. It makes thrusting harder because I'm losing all of my reach. I don't have anything I do with it. My hand was totally exposed. I got whacked in the hand so many times in the wrist because I had no sword in the way to guard it. Swords are designed to have either cross guards or the blade itself in the way so that you can parry with it like this. I have to raise my hand so high to make a parry, and then even when we were trying to parry with the guard on our elbow, something we were told works, it just whips right over and cuts you anyway. There's such a narrow margin of error for you to get that right. Whereas with a normal sword, I have a lot of flexibility and maneuverability here. I don't have to be exactly spot on with my guard. I can catch something pretty easily and then riposte quickly. Not only am I losing that here, but then my response is slow and I have no range of motion. So let's talk about some of the myths people use to try and justify reverse grip, starting with reverse grip is a defensive style. First off, if you watch the first half, you'll see that really it isn't. It doesn't defend well at all, but we're going to get into that. The second part of that is there is no defensive style. Combat is mostly offense with defense to let you get back onto the offensive. If you're just sitting there in the defensive, then you're just opening yourself up to eventually getting hit. You're not going to block everything forever, and that's doubly so with the sword. It only takes one hit and you're done. So the whole notion of a defensive combat style is kind of stupid. If you want to have a defensive combat style, run away. That's the best defense. Don't be there if you don't want to get hit. If you don't want to fight, don't get hit. Every manual that talks about this, every strategy manual, even the US Army talks about how defense doesn't win wars, defense doesn't win fights, offense wins fights, and defense is the thing you do until you can get back on the offensive. Some of the things people talk about is using this like it's blocking with the forearm. This is stupid. We tried that fight, and what happened was he just whipped over. He's already making contact with my skin there. Additionally, now I'm absorbing the entire impact into my forearm. Whereas here, I can have this happen. I've got all of this nice springiness. Now, ow, that hurts. Even if this isn't double-bladed, that's gonna hurt. And what am I gaining from that? I'm not gaining reach. I have to be there, right? Look how close I am. I'm screwed otherwise. From here, boom, I got this. I can block and I have room to not get hit. Not useful. Trying to defend with it otherwise, let's say he thrusts. Okay, good, I moved it away from me, but now what's my attack, right? He tries to thrust like that again, I'm into him. Maybe I even can go, boom, whatever I need to do. He thrusts in me here. If I want to whip it like that, this is way more effective, and now I've got the roll into his head. There's nothing that this can do better on defense. The other thing I've heard about is that this is good for defense when reinforced. So they'll do this, and then he'll attack, and I'll hold it like this, or I'll hold it like this. Now, first off, that's stupid, because this is severely compromising the reach of my weapon. There is a technique for that. It's half swording. It's where, and I wouldn't really do it with a katana, but I do it with a longsword. I'm holding it in forward grip, and I'm grabbing it like this. This is useful for a couple of things. Usually it would be used on an armored combatant, where my strikes aren't going to do any damage because he's fully armored. I would do this to be able to get more precision here, and I would ram this into the joints of the armor so that I could kill him. Or I'd use the backside of this to bludgeon or stab or do whatever I wanted to do with. That's real combat and it works, but usually in an armored opponent. The problem with it in reverse grip is, first off, it's hard to get out of. It makes it less versatile. Whereas this, I can go from here to here pretty quickly. If I'm in reverse grip, I've got to go from here to here or here. So you're getting rid of all of your range and your reach for this one specific situation that doesn't even work that well. This is an awkward position for my hand to block it. I don't have the power. And this is just as easy. First off, I wouldn't do this. This is just as easy, but I can do this. Look at this. I can only go to here. I'm limiting my range severely, whereas this works just fine. If I want to have one hand reversed, it would be this hand, so I can use it like a spear, right? This is the dangerous side. This side hurts to get smacked with, but what is this gonna do? Unless I'm hammering him, which, I mean, I guess I could, but then you're going into a full Mordschlag, and that's dubious too, unless your opponent's in armor. Otherwise, it's too slow. The next myth we get is that it is good when dual wielding. So you would have one in a forward grip and one in a reverse grip. Now, I don't see where this logic comes from, because if it's not good in the front hand, why is it gonna be good all of a sudden in the backhand? Just because it's in your offhand doesn't magically make all the flaws we talked about earlier go away. It's still bad at blocking, it's still bad at cutting, and I have no advantage here. I just have one arm that's less effective. When if I turn them both forward, now I have two effective weapons. Now we're talking Filipino double stick or whatever we want to do with it. I've got infinite options when I have two forward grips. Now I have some options here and a useless thing over here that's more of a liability. I'm going to stab myself before I hit the enemy with it. It doesn't make sense. If it doesn't work in this hand, it's not going to work in this hand. It's not like your left hand is magical and it only works reverse, or if you're a righty, the other way around. Some people say that you should use it as an offhand parrying weapon, i.e. rapier and dagger. But for the same reasons that it's not effective in the other things, it's not effective here. If I have this, all I'm doing is exposing this hand. If you come here, and he hits, if he goes for something, I'm blocking like this, and it's so close to my wrist. One thing wrong, and I'm screwed. If I put it up here, what happens if he just attacks there? Right? My crossguard doesn't help me at all. I have to turn my crossguard at this angle to make it work, and that's an awkward position for my hand. Whereas this works just fine. That's the natural position. And now I'm making a V, he's coming to me, I have the strength there, I can actually move this away and do something with it. That's what it's designed to do. If you turn it this way, the crossguard isn't working with you anymore. Now it's working against you because it's smashing into my wrist like this. Up here, no problems. Works just fine, and I have full range of mobility. Additionally, in order to get higher parries, look at this. This is a bad way to parry. I can go down fine, I guess, but it's pointing at me now. Whereas here, perfectly normal, perfectly normal. My hand is meant to move this way. It does not work as well this way, and this is terrible. As a reverse grip, offhanded parrying weapon, useless. Don't do it. Another myth we get about reverse grip is that it is more fluid. And honestly, I don't need to be fluid in a fight, I need to hit the guy. Like, this whole notion of you should flow between attacks and things like that, once I hit something, it's gonna get stuck or it's gonna bounce off. It's not gonna flow through, unless I'm getting a very tiny surface cut. Sometimes it will, but really you get a lot of resistance when you hit muscle and skin and bone and things like that. Also, I'm gonna be thrusting a lot. So the notion that I'm doing attack, it's not really how combat goes. I mean, there's drills that do that, but real fighting is a lot of boom, hitting as fast as you can in this forward percussive manner. Even then though, the only reason this would be more fluid is because it's not gonna get stuck, it has no power. So yeah, I can do all this stuff, but in order for me to get close enough to actually use this, we've already showed this in the last one, I'm getting fluid coming up in here. All he has to do is parry one or that, or just parry something, he can riposte just fine. He can parry or riposte extremely quickly, because that's the way that combat's designed to be. He attacks me, I parry or riposte. If we're doing something more like this, he attacks me, I hit and hit again. Right? That's how the weapon's designed to be used. Now let's try it like this. He attacks me, I hit, and then I've got to come the other direction. You see that? I've got to come this way and then that way. And that's just so much more time than this and that. This is a tight movement, block, hit. This is a big movement, block, hit. And that's what I need to do, and my range is so limited that it doesn't make any sense. There's just nothing I can do with it. Even if it's a thrust and I hit it this way, boom, now I gotta come back that way. He's got plenty of time. Whereas if I'm in front grip, bop, boom, right? So much faster. I'm gonna go as fast as I can, ready? And I hit my finger on that too. It's not more fluid, it's not faster, it's just useless. Another bogus justification we get for reverse grip is that it is good for getting in close. And when we're talking swords, first off, that's kind of a fallacy. I don't really want to be close with the sword. It's a sword. There's a couple very specific situations where I want to get close with the sword, and none of them are helped by reverse grip. The whole idea is that if he's thrusting at me, I can somehow magically get this out of the way, and now I'm inside his guard, and I can like cut him here, but I have no leverage and no force. I've got this, but again, it's a paper cut, no leverage, no force. Maybe I can stab him, but the problem with that is, why wouldn't I just do that with forward grip? If he's here and I get in here, now I've got this, and that's the reinforced stab. Or if I can knock this out of the way to get in close, boom, I've got leverage behind that attack. Or even better, head. There's no reason not to just try and get in close with a forward grip, if you want to get in close, which again, is kind of dubious. Let's say we're talking with a longsword. There are certain manuals and things that talk about getting in close, especially when you're in armor. Now, if I'm going to do that, I'm probably going to half sword in a forward grip. If he attacks me and I want to get in close like this, I've got all of this to do. I can wrap him up, I can throw him, I can do other stuff. But again, if I'm doing that in a reverse grip, now I've got this weird angle that it's if anything, a hindrance, but in no way a benefit from doing this. All, at best, it is doing is making it harder for me to switch back and forth between the guards. So it doesn't help you getting close. And additionally, getting in close isn't necessarily that great. It's very situational. So your entire fighting style shouldn't be based on getting in close, because you're trapping yourself in only one style of fighting. And it's also a telegraph to your enemy, right? If you're in reverse grip and that's designed for getting in close, what you're telling your enemy is, oh, all I have to do is keep you at a distance and I'm fine. And I can keep people at a distance like nobody's business. I put my point here and I retreat every time we get close. So you're just gonna get stabbed. Don't telegraph stuff to your enemies. Have a versatile fighting style with a forward grip, like a normal person. Another justification for reverse grip is people say it's good for concealment, which why? Okay, right? Look, it is concealed. My sword is somehow concealed up my sleeve, and it's going to be able to slide out of my sleeve with my magic assassin contraption. Ready? Aha! I'm sorry, but my attack had no power on you, sir. Are you dead yet?
I'm good.
Okay, all right, let's try this. Ready? Aha! It's very concealed. What if I just turned it like that? How's it going? Aha! Right? What about this? Aha! This is a dumb one. I mean, I'm not taking this very seriously. Oh, what about a knife? Okay, knife. It's concealed in my sleeve. Aha! Oh no! He blocked it! Wait. What about this? What if it's just like this behind the back? Hey, how's it going, buddy? Ha! Stabbed him. It was a lot quicker to go from here to here than it was to go from here to here to here. Additionally, if your entire fighting style is based off of stuffing it up your sleeve, what happens once it's out? You turn it over, right? So you can fight for real? Like, if you're gonna do that, you're hiding it up your sleeve, then you pull it out and turn it over, and then you go? Sure, but I wouldn't call that reverse grip. I would just call it holding it upside down until you fought with it, right? That's not reverse grip, that's just the way you carry it. Another justification we get is that it is faster, which, I mean, if you've been watching, it's not. If you watched the beginning where we fought with it, it's super not. I don't have as much speed here. My arm is not designed to go that way. And instead of just being able to do this, look, that has no power A. In order to get power, I have to whip my whole body. And if we're talking fast, the fastest thing is a thrust. And I can no longer thrust. The quickest, the smallest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Anything I do in reverse grip is necessarily going to be an arc, whereas this is a thrust. If he thrusts and I cut, every single time he will win. Especially if I can't parry it very well, because I'm in reverse grip. So no, it is not faster. Another bogus justification is that the reverse grip is good for downward strikes, that it generates more power than a forward thrust. That is especially bogus, because the forward thrust in swordplay is one of the most deadly attacks. Let's talk about it from a punching perspective. We don't hammer down like this very often. The reason is the only muscles that are being used in this are the shoulder girdle and the lats, maybe the core. That's it. That's all I've got plus gravity. Whereas a punch, I'm using not only my chest, my abs, my lats, but I'm using my glutes and my legs and my core, and I'm twisting, and I can get all of this power. That's why punches are so deadly, because it's your entire body in one small spot. The same is true for a sword. I'm using my entire body to thrust into something or thrust into something. Whereas with this, I've only got my arms and my core and my lats. It's not as effective. It doesn't work as well. A forward thrust is not only faster, because it covers more distance in a straight line, boom, but it's also more powerful. This is an arcing motion, and it doesn't generate as much power. And if you're basing your entire fighting style off of one move, you're not doing a good job. Another myth, and the big one, the doozy of all of them about reverse grip, is that if you train with it enough, you can be good with it. Basically an appeal to, I am ignorant, I haven't trained with it enough. And here's what I have to say about that. If I walked exclusively on my hands, I would get pretty good at it. But if I ran against literally anybody, they would beat me. Because we're not designed to walk on our hands. We're designed to run on our feet. We've evolved for millions of years to be pretty good at running. Whereas we've not done that with our hands. The sword was designed from its inception to be held in a forward grip because that's how our body best uses it. We designed the sword with biomechanics in mind from the start. It was designed to be used in tandem with our body so we could exploit all the things that our body already does and make it more deadly. Turning it upside down negates literally all of that. It is like trying to walk on your hands and being in a fight with somebody who's on their feet, or in a race with somebody who's on their feet. It doesn't make sense, it doesn't work, and the training you're using to do reverse grip is just wasted. You could train your entire life with reverse grip and maybe be able to beat a couple people who are mediocre, but you'll never beat somebody who's trained even half the amount of time in forward grip. So why would you waste your time? Don't defend this stupid style and stop allowing Hollywood to get away with this BS. It makes no sense, and it's stupid. There's one exception for a sword in reverse grip, and that is a lightsaber, because it's a magic space sword held by magic space wizards who can do double backflips, standing in place, and read the future. They can do it, because why not? But we can't, because we're normal humans using normal swords. So stop it, please. The last thing we're going to touch on is the one useful case for reverse grip, and it is with a knife in extreme close quarters combat. The reason is, if I am in a situation where I either want to hook him, or I've got him in a lock where I can't stab him like this very effectively, this becomes more useful. With this, or however I've got him. If we're grappling on the ground, and I've got him in some sort of pin or situation, I can drive the knife towards me into him. That's useful. Sometimes we can do it where I'm getting in close and I'm trying to hook or do something like this, but the goal is always to close the distance into a situation where I am negating his forward grip. So I'm putting myself in a situation where his forward grip is useless, right? Now that doesn't work anymore, or something like that. That's the goal of reverse grip knife. It is to work in situations where forward grip knife is no longer effective. If I am starting a knife fight and I'm closing in on him, I want it in forward grip because I have that range, right? I want to be able to cut in his hand. Once I get in close, that would be the time when I reverse it and do what I need to do. So that is the use case for reverse grip. It's with a knife, and it's in close quarters combat, and it is nowhere else because it doesn't make sense because we're not built that way. The end! If you like this video or any of our other stuff, please consider supporting us on Patreon.